Bub, let me know if we come through all right. Sweet. All right, so all right, freaking here we go. So we'll address this whole freaking Charlie Kirk thing. So yeah, it's heartbreaking. It's sad. It's really brutal to think like his kids and his wife and his family and his friends and everyone who like followed him and stuff like just seeing what's happened and just because people disagreed with him, they decided freaking all right, yeah, he's got to go. And then there was all these people celebrating online. I was like, man, these are mentally unstable people. Like this guy, like, and this is something I feel like the mainstream media has kind of got to answer for as well because they're the ones that were like a certain bunch of them. Like, hello, Road Kitty Cat. They were like dehumanizing and trying to demonize certain people. So, basically get other people to go after him and stuff. And it was just like, oh man, why the hell? This is brutal. Like, this dude was like, strong with his faith and strong with all like his kind of belief in freedoms and like, believed in his country and his country's leader and stuff. And they just wanted to take him out. It's like, what the frick is going on? But yeah, to see people celebrating that and stuff and getting fired from their jobs, that's something I'm really glad
Mm.
about. Like, it's a little bit of a wake up
Yeah.
call. It's like, hey, dude, you want to put that out there? There's the whole thing of freedom of speech, but you got to be accountable for what you're saying as well. You can't just throw that out there and expect, oh, yeah, everyone's just going to accept how I feel and stuff. But, like, yeah, what was your take kind of on it? Like,
Well, I actually didn't know that people got fired, but I'm really happy to hear that too.
yeah,
Because in my mind, there's a lot of people I don't like. There's individuals that I don't like. You might even say a little bit further, you're like, oh, you might really, really dislike someone, but never ever thought, oh, I wish they were dead, because holding on to that resentment towards something that really doesn't mean anything in the long run is not healthy for you. But second to that, we don't live in an age where your opinion should be directly tied to whether or not you're still breathing,
yeah,
because politics are changing. Well, we live in Oz, we know what's going on at the moment with our government and whatnot, but,
yeah,
you know, he died a martyr, really,
yeah,
because that's what happens. You'll feel some sort of resistance because of it, and that's just time. Things things rinse and repeat, And if you've got a strong political view, and you want to go into politics, that's fine. But to be assassinated because you're left or right, honestly, I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is, my own brain being conspiracy driven, Stan, which is, is there an ultimate message here that, maybe too many movies, but, him dying a martyr would be the catalyst for certain change in a certain direction, and America's, got a big civil thing going on. They have done for years. They're at war with each other constantly.
yeah.
And I can't help but wonder, was it strategic enough to shift political views and opinions? I don't know. But yeah, leading a family, or because of what?
It
Unless there's some big agenda that we don't know about. What's the point?
it's sort of like it's had the opposite effect now. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head saying making him a martyr. And
Mm.
there's stuff that I've seen clips of him where he's doing these conversations and he's being really gentle and polite and stuff and just saying, look, have your say. Like, let's hear it, and like, it's a debate back and forth. And then there's stuff where I kind of disagree with him, but I'm also like a bit of like, I see his point of view, I see where he's coming from and stuff, and that's the reason why he was doing the debates and going to these colleges and stuff and just trying to like explain, yeah, there's a little bit more going on than what you're being shown. So don't like it. It's something where from Dead Poet Society with Robin Williams, like character as a teacher saying everyone like stand up on your desk and take a look at the room from a different point of view. Like don't just kind of sit in the box in the bubble. Take a look at how things sort of work with this and stuff. And I was just like, that's really cool, kind of to see where he was at and stuff, like how he was going about the whole. Don't just be like, well, this is the line, this is the wall, and you can't get past it and stuff. It's like, no, just poke your head over the wall and have a look and just see, there is a different point of view and stuff. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. If you disagree with it, you can debate it, but you don't have to like execute someone because you disagree with them. And it's heartbreaking now because like I was saying to Road Kitty Cat, that daughter that was running 3-year old that was running into his arms when he was on the TV, I don't know, whatever morning show or whatever it was. And I was like, man, that little girl's not going to get walked down the aisle for a wedding, and she's going to grow up saying like, I never really got to know my dad, like, and this widowed mother. Because I've done like, I won't name her, but like a few clients that I've had are widows where they're just kind of like, I couldn't explain to my kids about why their dad's not coming home, why he's not coming through the door. And I was just, geez, I would never wish that upon someone, like a family, to have to go through that, car accident, whatever. Like, but just to shut that light off, I was like, damn, that is some cold, evil kind of shit to deal with. But yeah, that's just how I feel. I'm just like, man, I really hope something kind of comes out of this where like, and you're hearing all this stuff about like people saying, well, we're going to continue his work. He was always about the debate and the opinions, and trying to like bring a lot of the youth up to speed on like you don't have to choose teams. You can like but it's just it's sort of it's heartbreaking, but also too like looking at all these clips the past 2-3 days now of him and seeing what he was all about, and people just lying about him and just saying like he's this, he's that, and name calling him, just trying so hard to dehumanize him and demonize him and stuff. And I'm like, wow, those are some sick people. Like they literally have their hands dirty with freaking, like, they didn't cut the brakes, but they definitely did push the car into the lake. Like they did sort of you know take things a bit too far. But I don't know. We can get off it. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on about it? But like, yeah.
Um, I will give my opinion.
Mm.
I didn't follow him at all very much. I've seen bits and pieces, but as far as American politics go, I'm not fully invested in, the left or the right, or, just the mainstream, which is pretty much what the media throws at us anyway. But I have heard chatter that Donald Trump was saying something about the death penalty. And my opinion is absolutely. And not because, that's the same as, you killing that guy. Well, no, it's not the same. The the message is, if this bloke gets the chair or lethal injection, that's the message to say you can have a view and you shouldn't die because of it. And the best thing America can do is make an example of that. Whether or not that happens, who knows? But if the consequence for it is not harsh enough, people will be too scared to have an opinion, to public speak, to go to schools, to universities, and there's plenty of other people, not just him, that do that. And the message needs to be loud and clear, and it needs to resonate to say, hey, you should be able to get up on stage and not fear for a bullet coming your way because you have an opinion. And it'd be interesting to see if Trump follows through with whatever those rumours are in that chatter. I'd like to see a very harsh consequence, and shy of death, there's nothing that really sends a message to really anybody in America that says, hey, you can't do that ever again. The only way to do it is to enforce the death penalty, an eye for an eye, which is primitive to an extent, but kind of have to. You have to do it. So, if anybody else picks up a gun, like I think it was pretty much a kid. I think he was 22. He was the rifleman.
First year in uni, he was.
Yeah, 22 years old, if I've got that right.
I think yes. The more information will come out. It'll start to kind of show a little bit more and more, like, what exactly is the whole sort of deal with like it's just man.
Stan, if you're willing to take a life, you should also accept that you might have to forfeit yours.
Yeah.
That's the rules. If you were to engage in battle, you have to 100% engage knowing full well that your life is also being gambled.
Yeah.
You can't just pick up a gun and shoot someone and think, oh, he's just going to go to jail for 25 years or whatever it is. No, it doesn't work like that. Not with human beings anyway. Maybe some, judicial systems might not operate as harshly. That's why I should never be in charge of anything. Bring back capital punishment.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah.
Hey,
anyway.
Hey guys. Yeah. Just it says he was 22. His dad turned him in. Who was a sheriff or something? Oof, man. The thing is, when and I'm not like, oh god, I'm a diehard Trump fan. I think he's getting stuff done, but in terms of like him turning around and saying, like the whole, I think it was when they had the ice, like if you interfere or try and attack the people getting rid of the illegal immigrants, your family will be informed where to pick up your body when they were throwing rocks and stuff at the cops and burning their cars and stuff. And then I think Trump came out saying, anyone who burns a flag, it's straight away, it's just a year in prison, no ifs or buts. And all of a sudden, no one's burning flags. I'm like, well,
the consequence is severe enough. It's a deterrent. You have to be firm, and sometimes you've got to double down and say, hey, what do you do? You've got the same in Australia. Over east, you've got burning flags. You've got, the immigrant conversation. You've got all sorts, and speaking to my brother on Friday morning about this, we're second generation, emigrating from Italy. Obviously, they're my roots. I don't have anything against immigrants coming to Australia, but we've assimilated. That's what my grandparents did. We decided, hey, opportunity, let's make the most of it. But you don't get that anymore. You've got these, political views that are just transferring from one place to another, across the other side of the world too. And my younger brother said that, if he saw someone in the street, and someone was running with a machete and there was a group of people, he said he'd shut the door and lock it. And I was like, oh, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you do something to, protect or save or whatever? And he says, like, unless it's my immediate family, I don't want anything to do with it. Let them destroy themselves out in the street if they want to do that. But it's a difficult conversation having that one, because, you put your own life at risk when you've got a family, all for protecting someone else, and it's the girl on the train. We could
That's
briefly chat about that. Horrible,
yeah,
terrible.
just coming home from
Bystanders
work.
didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yep. And I haven't seen too much on it, to be honest, because I do try to remain as ignorant as possible purely for my own sanity stand.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to stay out of it. But, you know, having a go at everybody for not doing anything, like, what do you do with somebody that's armed with a knife? Do you attack him? Are you going to save her, or is he going to go slice at you? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do in that situation? It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but anyway,
this is the thing. The other night, Thursday night. No, was it Thursday night? It was. I can't remember. One night, early this week, we were coming out of the shops. It was empty
hmm,
and stuff, and there was a dude that was just not mentally there. He was raving and ranting and stuff, and it was getting on my nerves because the lady who was with, I don't know if it was his mother or his sister or his caretaker, whatever it was, he was just like, I'll fight anyone, and just like losing his mind. And if you, like, me and Road Kitty Cat were walking out to our car, and you can hear him clear as day because the shops is empty. This is like late night shopping, but everyone's kind of gone home and stuff. And I'm just like, where's the security at?
hmm.
Where's the cops at? No one's here. I'm not gonna get involved. I'm not gonna turn around and look at him or give the lady a look and just be like, put a sock in him, will you? Otherwise, I will because I'm a grown ass man. Like I'm not gonna interfere and stuff. But he was just making such a scene. I'm like, I'm not. I know where this goes because I'm not that 19-year-old kid anymore who's just gonna like that react and be like, this guy wants to throw down and he's getting on my nerves. I'm going freaking, running in like hard to like do something. I was just like, no, no, no. I've got a lot more to lose than what this prick does. So I'm not gonna get involved in stuff. But it's happened a bunch of times with me and Road Kitty Cat. Someone's shoplifting and goes running right past me. I'm like, that's the security's job. I'm not getting stabbed with a screwdriver or something by some random, you know, piece of human garbage who wants to do that. And one of the store clerks was chasing him out down the down the parking lot, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Shouldn't there be security and stuff? And I've seen it. I've seen it so many times where security are like, we're not allowed to touch them. We're not allowed to do anything. We have to call the police and just try and form a barrier to stop them from escaping. But they're going to go anyway. And it's like, well, what's the point in us, like, getting stabbed with a syringe or something and God knows what's in it. And, this dude is potentially caught and arrested, but yeah, it's over a $60 hairdryer or like something. So I've I've had those times where I've just sort of like gone, you know what, like that young girl getting stabbed on the train. I'm just like, oh God, this is what the hell's going on? And then finding out that this guy had 14 prior arrests, and I'm like, I don't know how anyone is like not sitting there just saying like, okay, here's a problem. 14 times. How about after the first, second, or possibly third time? It's like, all right, this guy needs to be put away now. This is not.
14
Yeah,
is a
yeah,
pretty wild number.
yeah. It's
You know,
insane. Like, and it's over some little things. Like, I don't know if it was vehicle stuff. There was a few things, but I was just like, kind of. Imagine if he was put away. That girl would have gotten home from work and been like, oof, smelly on the train today or on the bus or wherever it was and stuff like,
mm,
but yeah, even hearing about she fled from the Ukraine to America to have a nice happy life and stuff, and I was just like, oh God, like, that's devastating.
yeah, it's
It was
horrible. It
fucking
really,
awesome.
really is.
Yes, Katie, Brock was pretty funny tearing his pants. We watched SmackDown wrestling this morning, and one of the wrestlers, Brock Lesnar, I think you might have heard of him. He did his finisher move F5 to R-Truth, another wrestler, but he was wearing jeans when he did it, and he tore his pants. And then he just ran with it. He was just like laughing and he's showing the camera going, blue underwear, and just walked off laughing and smiling. But it was supposed to be an intense moment where he does his finisher to R-Truth because he was challenging John Cena. But it was really funny how he just went, screw it, let's just roll with it. It's funny as and stuff. But yeah, I was having a laugh at that. Oh my god, is Kate. Did you watch that Cody Rhodes clip I sent to you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Um, so he's going to be in Street Fighter. He was filming out here in Australia. Um, him and Roman Reigns and stuff. You remember Street Fighter 2? Like you played it possibly?
Yeah, I definitely played it games only, nothing much more than that. But I wouldn't say I got into it like heaps either. But I do remember Street Fighter.
Yeah. And Van Damme played Guile in the 1994 or 95 version, I think. Um,
Mhm.
but now Cody Rhodes is playing Guile. But yeah, what did you think of that clip? Him talking about his dad. Um,
I don't know the context in it, around it. I kind of got sidetracked with the guy with the pink suit. Or was it
all right.
purple?
Um, so the
Towards sort of
quick,
towards the end, so I might have missed
yeah,
yeah,
the
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 crux of
quick
it.
rundown off it is Cody Rhodes in 2005 wanted to start wrestling like his dad. At that point, Dustin Rhodes, his father, um, had sort of retired and was an agent backstage and stuff. And his dad, they'd gone broke a little bit. So um, his dad knew, like, it's more about the characters in this wrestling business now. So his dad hocked his freaking Rolex watch to buy his son Cody Rhodes some acting lessons. So Cody starts wrestling. He's basically working his way from the ground up. Yes, he does have his father's name, but that's kind of working against him because when you become a wrestler, you got to work on the independent scene. So you got to work at the flea markets, at the market gardens and stuff in front of 20 fans and stuff, and just so he came up a little bit rough. So it got to, I can't remember if it was 2014 or 2015. His father passed away. Dusty Rhodes passed away, which was sad because while he was working backstage and stuff, Cody had kind of he started working his way up and getting a little bit of a name for himself, but then it kind of would just fizzle out because a lot of agents and the owner Vince McMahon would say to Cody, "Look, you're not big enough. You're not 7 foot. You're not over 300 pounds, dude. It's just not going to work out. You're not really built for the main event scene. So take that out of the equation. You're never going to be a world champion. You just got to get used to that, kid." So Cody left after his father passed away, went on the independent scene, started to work so hardcore, like yeah, hey, they're like Daddy Dom double champion. Yeah, that's really weird seeing Dom as the AAA and the IC champion. But yeah. So anyway, um, it's kind of crazy that Cody he's working on the independent scene, and then what's so weird is he makes so many friends and stuff. He makes guys like with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega over in Japan. He was wrestling in Japan and stuff. And eventually he says, you know, we should book out an arena and stuff and see if we can run our own show, our own big kind of show. And it doesn't have to be televised and stuff. We'll do the internet and stuff. Like, we'll do a live stream of it. And I don't know, someone turned around and said, I can't remember who, Someone said there is no way that they would be able to, if they got an arena, if they booked out an arena, there's no way they could fill those seats and sell it out. And then Cody Rhodes tweeted back at this dude, challenge accepted. He booked Madison Square Garden in New York, called it all in the show because he put all his money into it to book it, everything. Ring of Honor, ROH, the company, he basically rented out their ring and their kind of, stuff, their entrance and stuff, all their gear and stuff, and sold it out. He sold it out. This is in 2018, I think, whatever it was. So this is like 2 years after he had left WWE. And he was just saying, like, man, I really wish my dad was alive to see this. Like, we actually did it. We had all these fans come out and sell out the arena. So that caught the attention of a millionaire's son, Tony Khan. Tony Khan said, what if we put together our own wrestling promotion, call it All Elite Wrestling, AEW? And Cody was like, yes, I'm absolutely all for it. Like, let's do it. They formed up AEW, got a TV deal, pay-per-views, were like doing all this stuff. And Cody Rhodes was an EVP, executive vice president of talent and relations and all that stuff. And then when it came to renew his contract, Cody, I think, after 2 years, he had like a 2 year contract or whatever it was. They turned around and said, Tony Khan said, okay, we're going to renew your contract, but we have to take away that EVP title. And he was like, wait, what? Because Cody Rhodes' wife was an EVP as well. She used to be a wrestler as well. She used to be a ring announcer and used to wrestle. So what ended up happening was Cody was like, thank you very much. I appreciate everything you've done, Tony. But I'm going to go and see if WWE would be interested in having me back. And they were interested. He came back at WrestleMania, wrestled that guy in the pink suit, Seth Rollins, beat him, and then that next night was the Monday Night Raw where he comes out saying, like, everyone's wondering why I'm back, why I came back. And that's where he shows that's Madison Square Garden with my dad holding the belt in 1979, I think it was, before he was even born. And he was just like saying, yeah, my dad didn't win the world title, and I wanted to give it to him, like when I win it, and to be like, yeah, no one can take it away from you because it was that technicality. You can't win the title if by count out or by disqualification. So he was like, yeah, that dream died a few years ago of me being able to do that for him. And yeah, pretty much when he had come back, he was like, that's my goal, to try and win that belt. So he came back 3 years ago, and now here he is. He's getting to be in the Street Fighter movie and put that whole kind of, yeah, my dad sold his Rolex to buy me acting lessons, and now like it's a really nice,
It's a good story.
yeah, it's a good story, but like, yeah, it just it was really kind of cute to see him have that sort of that comeback story. Like, I'm back in the WWE to try and win that WWE world title and stuff. So yeah, it was really kind of cool. But yeah, just what do you think? Like, this, we saw them reboot Mortal Kombat movie back in 2022, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not 100% sure. Like, yeah, possibly, I think it was 2022. And now we're getting a sequel to Mortal Kombat that they delayed from October to next year in May, I think. Like, and then they've announced, like, I think they released a teaser trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie coming out next year in April.
I haven't watched it yet. I need to watch it.
I think it's just an announcement. It just has Mario sitting under the tree, and it has a shot of the castle, and then it pans up to the sky and shows that it's called Super Mario Galaxy instead of calling it Super Mario Brothers 2 and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, if this if it shows that it can be done right, is this potentially a year off the video game transition to film kind of deal? Can we see it? Because they've done a good job with Sonic. Not a great job, but I think they did a pretty decent enough job for Sonic the Hedgehog to
Yeah,
yeah. Like
it
even
changed his eyes.
yeah. Well, it wasn't just that, it was a whole revamp of him. That was
Mm.
because fans were like tearing into him, like, and the
Mm.
director came out saying, "We hear you. We're fixing things. Don't worry, we got you." And that's when I was like, "Cool. I wonder if they are going to fix it." And they did. And I was like, "Oh
Yep,
man,
the
power of the
people have
people."
spoken and someone's listened.
Mm.
Um, do you mind if I eat a Twix while we're talking?
Dude, I had
I'm just
pizza
hungry.
behind me. And I said to Road Kitty Cat, I was like, "Should I keep that out here?" I don't know if Mickey will want me to be able to freaking stuff my face, but yeah, go for it, dude.
I'm
You don't have
just,
to ask
I'm
permission.
just hungry. That's all. I'm just hungry.
See if we can get a sponsorship. But yeah, we made homemade
Oh,
pizzas
yeah, no, you
tonight.
can't show the Twix. I've got to
But
blur it.
but yeah,
Um, but in all honesty, like I enjoyed the Super Mario movie.
yeah,
Like I thought it was cool, it was fun, it was entertaining. They kept true to, what the video game pretty much was, but a little bit more of the modern era rather than the original Mario, which is fine because I'm Nintendo 64 era, so I didn't really get that before, but I obviously know a fair bit about it.
yeah,
Um, but Mortal Kombat though, I'm pretty pumped to see what they're going to produce.
yeah,
Like I really am, but I like those kinds of movies
yeah,
too. But I can be hypercritical and not know any background information,
yeah,
and that's the beauty of going into it. Uh, I guess completely unbiased and not knowing what the universe is and all the characters involved, because then I've got an opinion of that was a good movie based on ABCD, not based on how true it was.
yeah,
But it's a tricky one because are you watching it because it's entertaining, or are you watching it because it's a reminder of what it used to be, and it's a you're reminiscing,
yeah,
'cause, it was it, it's far too common for them to just change things, themes, woke, all of that, and it's just like, well, what's left? What have we got left?
yeah,
Is it going to be enjoyable? you know, because there's not much left when you start adding, those sorts of things, and you have to take main substance out to do it.
yeah.
So,
And
you know,
like, so I met the director of Mortal Kombat, freaking when they did the premiere here.
mm,
He's like, he's legitimately respectful of the project, but the way it was put to me was like, as a director, you've only got this much say, and then when you're a producer, you've got like kind of this much say, and then when you're a studio funding it, or an investor funding it, or a shareholder and stuff, it's like you've got this much say. And at the end of the day, who's going to win? Who's going to be the one that says we're doing this? It's such a
mm,
God. I don't know how it kind of happens, but when the process of a film being made and everything, like, there's so many projects out there that just don't see the light of day, that they've like, I mean, you even seen this whole like Red Sonja kind of deal that has been in
mm,
production hell for like the last 10 years. And it's like it's been picked up by different producers, dropped off, rewritten by multiple writers. It's just been like kind of this, I don't want to even say like a butchered script, but how many cooks are in that kitchen where they're just like saying,
mm,
all right, I'm going to add some garlic into this soup. And then someone comes along and goes, all right, I'm going to add some more salt into this soup. And then it's like, well, the recipe says it needs this, 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 but I'm going to add some of this oregano into it. And then another chef comes along and goes, what is this, a stool sample? Great, I'll take a crap in it then. And next thing you know, it's like, well, what the hell is this? What has this become now? So I think while I kind of respect, like, because even too when I was talking to the director, he had said I like to critique and just to make everything look perfect. So he goes, I'll be there in the cutting room shooting water just falling down steps and stuff just to try and to make that little bit magic happen of the mood of what's happening, like when Sub Zero walks in to the scene and you just see all the water and everything start to freeze, like, just cool stuff like that. um I'm a little bit, if it's said to me, because I've got a knowledge of certain things and like, different stuff that I love. If anyone, if a person who's unaware of, like, well, I've never really seen comic movies before, Stan, what would you recommend? And I'm like, start off with Batman Begins, followed up with The Dark Knight, and yeah, if you've gotten that far, watch The Dark Knight Rises. Or if you're more about, instead of doom and gloom and brooding and stuff like Batman, maybe watch Tobey Maguire's freaking Sam Raimi's Spider-Man from 2002. Watch Spider-Man 2, and maybe just skip Spider-Man 3. But a lot of people, when they're just like coming up to me after all these years, just saying, "Do you remember, Stan, when you were going on about Iron Man just before it came out? And you were saying about how, like, if they do this right, we can see a whole universe expand from this. We're crossing over stuff." And we were just like, "What are you talking about?" And now here they are years later saying, "My son flipped out when we went to go watch, you know, Doctor Strange, or when we went to watch the Avengers, like Endgame and stuff." My kid was saying, the school teacher said, "If I get any Endgame spoilers from you kids, you're instantly in detention and stuff." I was like, I'm glad. Like, I'm glad it was respected, and kind of they built off it and stuff. But yeah, just looking at the way that we've got a Street Fighter movie coming out, you could potentially do a multi kind of spin-off films and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just that's just where I am with, like, kind of, you know it's got such potential. I just hope they do it right. I hope they focus on just making a good movie, because I don't know how you feel about Superman. I don't know if you've seen it yet. um it's
I haven't sat down and got through it.
Yeah, it's a little bit rough. um
Well, well, before we talk about Superman, I think it's interesting that Mortal Kombat uh, 11 was banned in like a few countries, primarily of Asian descent, because of how uh, the blood and gore and all sorts, but also there's something to do with communist themes and whatever.
yeah.
This movie, so 2, they're saying that it's focusing on Mortal Kombat 11. Maybe the finishes, maybe, I'm not sure, but they're pretty much like doubling down and saying, oh, no, it's going to be brutal, you know,
Yeah.
which is funny to think about, considering the game itself, was banned in a few countries. But hey, it's rated R, it's rated R. You can't have too much gore. It's either in the category or not, like. But um, I do think that the games were like pretty intense,
Yeah.
and people either like that or they don't like it. But the fact that they have made this movie with a larger budget, well, the reported budget anyway, tells me that the uptake's there anyway, regardless of whether they banned it in the other countries. Why spend more money on a sequel? You know, than the first one. So hopefully they do it right.
I think there's a lot of factors in there with them greenlighting a sequel because the first one, I think it made money, but not heaps. And
Mm,
plus, because it was filmed out here, and it's a lot cheaper to film out here in Australia than it is out on different locations and stuff around the world, especially like in Hollywood and stuff.
mm,
It's like crazy to have for a like $200 million budget. It's cheaper to film out here, fly everyone from the US out to here, use all these filming crews and all this stuff, and you can film it for under 100 million rather than filming it for 200 million, or fly up to Canada to film up there. Like with the first X-Men movie and stuff, they were just like, yeah, it's easier to film out here in the forest and stuff rather
mm.
than over in different like on location sets and stuff. Like so, yeah, I do kind of get it. Like it's weird. Like yes, I am that old enough to have played the first Mortal Kombat in the on the arcade machines in the video stores. Yes, kids, there was video stores. These things that we went to rent stuff. Um, and now looking back on Mortal Kombat, it's so tame compared to
Mm.
what we've got now. And back then there was so much outrage and stuff like from mothers saying like this game needs to be banned and like get this off the store shelves and stuff. And I was just like, oh man, this is
Blaming violent video games for everything.
yeah,
Violent video games has not desensitized me
yeah,
at all. I get queasy around blood. The whole, oh, you're desensitized, you're not. Your brain knows what's real and what's not. You don't get desensitized to something fictitious. You get desensitized to something that's present and real. So it just doesn't fly with me because you used to hear about it all the time, like, you're desensitizing the kids, blood and guts and da 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 da. And it's just like, it's not real.
yeah,
None of it's real. And once the kids grow up and they realize, hey, that's not real, it'll either become enjoyable or they're not interested in it anymore. So I look for a little bit more violence in movies, only because it, I don't know, makes it, I wouldn't say more real, but it's just more serious if it's got blood and guts in it.
so
But anyway,
yeah, it's something where yeah, we've got to grow with the times and stuff in terms of like what's the next big step we have. So I'll just go back to like all those years ago where there was the big protest of like violence in video games and stuff. We got to ban consoles and certain games and stuff and everything. And I'm like,
mm,
hey, there's always a way around it and stuff. They've put these ratings and stuff on that, and like it's always been said, it's at the end of the day, it's the responsibility of the parents on what their kids are, put in front of and subjected to and everything. But it's always like no, it encourages violence and stuff. It's like, well, wait a minute, hang on, wait, let's think about this for a second. Did violence pre-exist to the game Pac-Man being released like in the world? Did Pong get released and make people want to start getting a ping pong paddle and start smacking people in the head with them and stuff? Like, I'm sorry, no.
I,
Um,
I, I'll tell you one thing though, and that's Fast and Furious.
yeah,
Does the Fast and Furious movies, the what do you call them? The franchise, make you wanna drive your car faster and more furious? Absolutely. That's why the cops used to wait outside of Hoyt's every time the Fast and Furious movie was released in Garden City. And I remember walking out of the cinemas and you'd hear it, just someone being stupid, and then there'd be sirens, and then you'd pull out and you're just like, please God, no. Please God, no, just don't pull me over. I'm not interested. And someone else would be doing something stupid, so you'd be fine. But I guess you pick and choose because you watch a movie with cars in it and you're just like, oh, I've got a car. Yeah, I can do that. You get a bit of a esteem, hit from it. But with blood and violence, you don't look at that and you're like, oh yeah, I could rip somebody's heart from their chest. Yeah, I can do that. No, it's not the same thing. It's completely different.
Yeah.
But it's society blends it all together, and it's just like, that's good and that's bad. And it's just like, well, no, they're all different, case by case. Look at them, don't bundle them all into one. It
Yeah.
doesn't work like that.
But
But yeah.
I've got to ask as well.
Hmm.
Have you been watching Buffy, the Vampire Slayer?
I have.
Yeah.
I have, but I'm sort of coming back in. I sort of come into it after like a few episodes with Stays. So I'll walk in and I'll be like, oh, yeah, we're up to here, are we? What happened there? And then she'll just fill me in and then we'll watch an episode or two together.
Off the
Um,
top of your head,
she's, mm,
what's kind of catching you? What's sort of like, hey, I want to find out what happens after this. Like,
um, to be honest, Buffy's acting is not great.
Sarah Michelle
Even in
Gellar.
comparison, yeah, even compared to some of the actors uh, in the actual series, like there are some better actors in there, than her, and that's fine. It is what it is. But um, I was over, I overheard one of the episodes today, and it was all about sex.
Yeah.
I don't know what episode everybody's up to,
Yeah.
but it was all about teenage sex and whatnot, and I wouldn't say that I love that as a topic to talk about, but it's nice hearing it, even though I'm not watching that episode, because it's just like, oh yeah,
It was the
there's
college
back
one,
when a
wasn't it?
series yeah, because there's a series that'll actually talk about it and unfiltered to an extent, because now it's all manipulated and warped and it's not as innocent. Whereas though everything that I hear that comes out of that show is like it's innocent to an extent, because no one's overthinking it. It's just like, oh yeah, that's normal as of now. That's a normal thing, you know, but it might not be as normal now. But anyway, sort of I don't want to digress too far down that theme.
It's all good. Bless you.
Oh gosh, pardon me.
So
Sorry.
like that whole episode about Buffy. So I don't know if you watched the finale and stuff of season 3 where her and Angel basically break up. Well, he breaks up with her and has to say like, look, I'm over 200 years old and stuff.
Hmm.
I know where this is going now. I've lived a life. You're just starting yours, so I can't hold you back from that. Like you're basic.
I've heard that story before, Stan.
Yeah.
I've heard that story before.
Yeah. And it's
I want to
well,
say Vampire Diaries, but
that's the thing. It was taken from Twilight. Twilight was based off of Buffy
hmm.
and a little bit of Star Wars and stuff. Stephanie
You
Myers.
ruined me with it when you said all those things, because now I watch Buffy and I'm like, oh, that's in
Yeah.
this, and that's what they've got. They've copied this.
Yeah.
That's the theme over to there. And I'm like, oh, this is what Stan means when he's talking about, you know, the impact and the influence that these shows and these series have had on later shows and different series. And it's just like, oh, so what do I like better now? Do I like the original where the theme came from?
Yeah.
Or do I like this new thing that they've, made? But sorry to cut you off. But
No, you're
yeah,
right. You're right.
I
It's
find myself doing that all the time now. I'm just like, Stan mentioned this,
yeah. I
that this is
think
the case.
it's so unique what happened in that time because Buffy was rating so well. That's when the network came to Joss Whedon and said, "Hey, any chance we could do a spin-off or something? Got any ideas?" And he said, "Yes, Angel." So when you see at the end of season 3, the finale where Angel he goes, "I'll stay to take out the mayor, but then I'm out of here. I've got a book." And she kind of says, "Look, I she sort of understands, but she loves him so much and he loves her so much. It's a doomed love that and there's something so beautiful about that when she sees him walking off into the smoke. When you watch Angel, like you see Buffy is a coming of age story. Angel is a show about regret. So it flashes back to all the years and the centuries of stuff that he was doing and where he was back then.
Mm.
And it's so cool because that first I think I don't know if you watched the first episode of season 4 where Buffy goes to uni for to college for the first time. Um,
Might have missed that one.
yeah. So basically, there is she walks into the Bronze, and you see her. She's kind of looking around, and she sees someone who looks like Angel, and she looks again, and it's not him. And she's like, kind of goes into to uni, and she goes into the library and stuff for the first time, and everything looks so big, and she's like, this isn't school this isn't high school anymore.
Mm.
I'm out in the real world now. Like this is it's like a daunting feeling. And she gets her ass kicked by a vampire that was a little bit of a oh, she's the queen bee around here and stuff. And sort of I think by the end of the episode it has her sort of come to terms with like, oh no, this isn't kind of like impossible for me. This is just something I need to reintroduce myself to. But you see her in the house at her mum's house, and the phone rings, and she goes to pick it up, and she's like, "Hello," and she's like, "Hello, hello," and she like they hang up, and she hangs up the phone. She's just kind of like, "Huh." The first episode of Angel, the spin-off, shows him, in a bar, and he's kind of pretending to be drunk because vampires can't get drunk on alcohol. And he sees these guys saying to these girls, "Hey, let's take off. Let's get out of here, eh?" And Angel's just like pretty girls. And then he just kind of he does a double take and he goes, "Huh." And you see him get up and he leaves the bar. The guys have taken these girls to the alleyway, and it's a young Jeremy Renner, and it's not a guy, it's a vampire, or these vampires. They're going to kill him, and Angel comes into the alleyway acting drunk, and freaking, they're just like, "Get lost, pal," and he's just like, "Oh, you need a breath mint," because they're vamped up, and Angel ends up taking these dudes out, and these girls are like, "Oh my god, like, what the hell were they?" He's just like, just go home, get away from me, because one of the girls gets cut on her forehead, and he can see the blood, and he's just like, just get away from me. And they're just like, he walks off into the night, and they're just like, who the hell was that? Like, if it wasn't for him, we'd be dead. And that's kind of how Angel's show starts. He meets someone who basically gets these prophecies, these quick flashes, images of the future, and it's got a lot of Angel in it. And so he tracks down Angel, and he says, like, his name's Doyle. He says to Angel, "Look, I get these images. I knew you were coming. I knew you were coming to LA. You need to help these people because you're disconnecting yourself from humanity, from people. Eventually, you're going to be so disconnected that you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go and feed. I'm going to go drain someone of their blood and stuff instead of drinking pig's blood and stuff, like. And so Angel's just like, I don't know. It's like you need to interact, you need to socialize and be around people because it's sending this message off. The show represents, don't slip into depression and be isolated and be by yourself. You have to be around people, otherwise you're just going to be miserable and stuff. So by the end of the episode, Angel, he saves the day. He helps some people and stuff. So like by the end of the episode, he's sitting on his bed, and you can just see it's like such a different world now compared to Sunnydale. And you see him look over at the phone, and he picks up the phone, he starts dialing it, and you hear on the other end it's Buffy going, "Hello, hello," and then he just hangs it up really
It's
quickly.
the
And it's a little bit of a cool thing to see the way that they've got the way that they've got this comparison of, well, here's Angel wondering, is Buffy okay? Is she alright? And he hears her on the other end. She's kind of happy, like, hello. Hi. She's not just like, hi, Summer's residence. He's just like, kind of, okay, look, she's fine. She doesn't need me. She's on her own. Like,
Mm.
um, but things tend to happen, like, where he does have to get involved and vice versa as well. Buffy has to kind of get involved. So it's so cool to watch the episodes cross over where there's stuff that happens. I don't want to ruin it, but it's really cool to watch. I think you would
Oh,
really.
you don't have to feel ruining it for me.
No, no,
Trust
no,
me,
no.
it's
That's
fine.
that's just the first episode. That is just the first episode, and I just gave you the cliff notes of that first episode of Angel. If you watch it, I think you will be like, oh, this is the guy's show. This is like Vampire Diaries. This is
Mm.
like freaking a Smallville kind of feel. But with Buffy, it's like coming of age sort of thing. You still got your friends. You're still in school, well, in uni at this point, but you got to learn to be an
Mm.
adult. Angel is a show where we all look back on our youth and think to ourselves, oh man, I was really like that in school, or oh god, I
Mm.
really handled myself like that. Because it flashes back to times when Angel's running around, and I didn't get your take on Spike. What did you think of Spike, the vampire?
Oh, I like his character.
Yep.
And, he floating between being the bad guy and helping in certain situations, mutually benefiting from certain situations is quite fun to watch. Um, but because he's so familiar in his character, obviously as an actor, it's a lot easier to relate to him as a bad guy
Yep.
too, But yeah, I do like Spike. I do
Uh,
like seeing him. I think he's still in at the moment. I don't think he's left because if I'm remembering right, Ware or Stace and I are up to. I don't think the mayor's still in it. Oh, don't know. She's one after the other at the moment, so I don't know how far through.
yeah, she's on fire.
Um, oh, and it was either I do that with her or I let her go. So I I've got other things I want to do at the same time, and I haven't even gotten up to date on the shows that I want to watch at the moment. Like I've started watching Nobody 2, the movie.
Yeah.
I did like the original Nobody,
Yeah.
and I'd say just over halfway on Nobody 2,
Yeah.
and it's pretty good so far for what it is.
Yeah.
I finished Foundation.
Yeah.
I watched the latest episode today, and I really am enjoying that. And then, yeah, Alien Earth, obviously,
Yeah.
which has got its claws into me. But,
What's the premise of
you know,
Foundation?
episode or the whole thing?
Just in general, because I've only
Mm.
like Rogue Kitty Cat mentioned it to me. She goes, "Have you heard of Foundation?" I'm like, I have no idea what that is or what it's about or what like the whole plot is and stuff. I've like,
They're based on books before June was even written.
yeah,
Um, the premise is, if you haven't read the books, which I haven't either, uh, in a very distant future, very, very distant,
yep,
where, there's, I think I don't know if it's an emperor's the right word, but Cleon, they have a dynasty. It's a genetic dynasty. So they rinse and repeat the same genetic individual in power they have done for so long. And you've got dawn, day, and dusk. There's always three biological versions of that person that's running things, and day's like the go-to, and then you've got dusk, and then he has an expiration date, but they're all the same person. And it's interesting because you've got hundreds of years and thousands of years of the same person being born and moving through dawn, day, and dusk roles in that sort of system. Different personalities, different objectives, different mindsets. And where it sort of leaves it at the moment with the season just coming to an end with episode 10 is things have changed again. And it's pretty much all to stop the world from, well, the universe from being destroyed. So they created a foundation, Harry Seldon, and he predicted the future, like a timeline. And it's good watching. I don't like Gail Dawn. She's the, what do you call it, protagonist. She's one of the main characters. I just think she's a bad fit for the role. I think that everything else is perfect in the sense of who they are, what they're doing, but she just doesn't fit that role. She's just, I find her annoying, and like a child almost, feels like a child, but everything else is great, and it's just, I think it was just poor casting for her. Like she's, I don't know, like maybe 70% there. But if everybody else is like 90% plus, you notice it. You're just like, oh, yeah, back to her again. Can't wait for that to be sort of gone. And then you want to watch, because they do all the different views and the storylines of what's going on at any one point in time through somebody else's eyes. But yeah, it's good. Is it better than Alien Earth? No, Alien Earth's very different, but Alien Earth makes you think a lot more.
Yeah.
It's all, I think I mentioned, it's subtle on its themes and its different connotations, and Foundation's just one of those sci-fi shows that are interesting, you know.
Yeah.
It's got anything, you know, but aliens in it. So, but I like aliens because I like Star Trek and I like Star Wars.
And so this is the repeated thing I've heard from a lot of reviews and stuff, because I haven't touched Alien Earth yet,
Mm.
but
Mm.
I'm kind of starting to slowly get like, huh, because everyone's saying the same thing. Watching up to the current episode makes you want to go back and watch the whole thing from start to finish, all in one big hit.
You've missed too many things because you weren't paying attention, and that's how I guess I would sell it to you.
Yeah,
I'd sell it to you in saying it's good enough that you're going to go back and rewatch the episodes because you weren't paying attention, and that you go into it, you're like, oh, is this going to be any good? What's going on here? And you just forget that, yeah, it is good. And you need to be paying attention because you're going to have to go and rewatch things now. And I said, was it the last episode? I think we're up to episode 6. I said that was like an alien movie, or like I was literally watching Alien
yeah,
or Alien 2. And I thought that's pretty cool to have that as that episode as a mini movie in the series. You just like this, if you showed somebody that episode, they would think, oh, which Alien movie is this? That's what they would say. I can guarantee it. And you'll know the one when you go to watch it.
yeah,
And that was going back in time just a teeny bit, how they go forward, go backwards, go forward, go backwards.
yeah.
But yeah, we could talk a little bit about it more, like the latest episode just gone. You're now, you find yourself sympathizing is it xenomorph? Is that what they call them?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what they
yeah,
call them. You find yourself sympathizing them. And it's just like, they've put me in a bit of a predicament here. Like, I feel sorry for the alien, and I feel sorry for the other aliens, like, why, what are we doing here? What's going on? And it sort of keeps circling back to, the aliens have always been the bad guys. They're that evil, that force. But now it's just sort of focusing on humans and androids, and it's just like, oh, we keep forgetting that humans are pretty bad too,
yeah,
human race. And it's interesting to see how that's been. Is it juxtaposition? Is that the right word? Or I'm not too filmy on the words that I should be using this time of night, but
yeah.
I think you'd like it, Stan. I really do. It's, yeah, I don't know.
I
struggling for some words at the minute with it. But I did actually take some notes to talk about if you wanted to talk
um
about it a bit more. I've got
I'm happy
a
to
few
hear
things
him.
written down.
I just kind of, with me, I'm like, as soon as I hear like we're gonna take this villain that we've had for decades and make him misunderstood, and I'm like, oh god, just make something evil. Just keep it like, I don't need to hear like, well, you should be conflicted because the reason why this thing's going around like on a murder spree is because um it was programmed to do that and stuff. Like, it gets a pass when I'm watching Terminator 2 and you get Sarah Connor saying, it kind of stands out now, um when she's saying we need we I'm sorry, I got a message. Did you see it? So yeah, just
I didn't even realise.
no, I didn't even notice, dude.
Someone did.
I think she's
Someone
messing with
did.
you.
Can't do a podcast in peace around here.
Oh man, it's awesome. I swear, dude, it's like that parking lot in the cinema. I still chuckle at that every now and then whenever I'm driving. I'm just like, God, those guys, they need a TV show. They need just a reality show because it would be the highest rated thing because they are so funny together. But yeah,
Did you know that the funny thing is that's not just in public. That back and forth with us is often.
but that's the
We don't
thing.
need an audience for it. Yeah.
I, I, I that's what I'm like always just saying to Road Kitty Cat. I'm like, God, it's so awesome when you see that chemistry between people that it just works. But anyway, like yeah, I'll get back to the Terminator 2 reference when she's like referring to Schwarzenegger as it, and
Hmm.
then when she sees that John Connor's her son's giving it high fives and stuff, she was like, oh, suddenly it's all become so clear. The Terminator was here to program to protect John. It wouldn't say it didn't have any time and wouldn't get drunk and hit him. It would be there for him to the end, and it would die to protect him and stuff. And she's like, with all the would-be fathers that have come and gone, this machine was like the most sanest choice to go with. But you cut to the first movie where it's on its murder path to try and kill Sarah Connor, and I was just like, this is a great take that James Cameron has made into how far will we go, will the good intentions and stuff. Because when you watch Terminator 2 and you have Miles Dyson, when Schwarzenegger does the arm rip and you see the cybernetic hand and stuff, he's like, now listen to me very carefully. And the narration is the Terminator explained to Miles Dyson about everything, about Judgment Day, about like, what happened. What I loved so much about that movie, it's his creation that's talking to him about, so you had the best intentions to make this AI, this machine, and it's basically doomed the human race. And you see Miles Dyson, he's just like, the actor for him is just like, man, I think I'm gonna grow up, throw up. And I was like, man, that's really cool because he's just like saying, you're judging me on things I haven't even done yet. How was I supposed to know? And Sarah Connor saying like, yeah, men like you create the atom bomb, and men like you freaking blew it up. He's just like, you think you're so creative, you don't know what it is to create life, to feel it grow and stuff. Like, it's a complex kind of storyline, and if Alien Earth does kind of go into that the xenomorphs are just trying to survive, or they're just trying to live, but if humans are trying to use them as kill drones and stuff, it's kind of like it says a lot because it that's explains in Aliens when you have what's his name's character release the two face huggers with Ripley and Newt in the lab, and they're just like kind of, oh god, freaking this dude, he all he's thinking about is just profit. This is
Yeah.
so stupid. Like,
They've really focused on that in this in Alien Earth
yeah,
about the corporations um, and corporate greed. Uh, the android children are named after you know characters in Neverland. With Peter Pan.
yeah.
Because they can never grow up because they're children put in an android body. But yeah, the aliens were brought to Earth, and they weren't meant to. Obviously, things aren't meant to be happening the way they're meant to be happening, but it's all because they want to experiment, because they want to create a weapon, because they want to make money or whatever it is. And you're sort of in that position now, as you know, well, hang on a second, you know, these are the bad guys. This is what we should be trying to eliminate from the universe, but should we? Because now you've got these intelligent, life forms that are just doing what they're programmed to do, and the humans are the problem. They're the issue.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think you should definitely pick it up when it's finished. I think it's only got another 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
They're doing those 10-episode runs now.
Which is just
But
enough time for, I think
mm,
you can see above me um, on the stream, I've got Predator Badlands.
mm,
I've got a photo of that jammed up there. So does this reference Alien Earth? Does it at all reference anything about the Predators at all? Is there any kind of acknowledgement?
not that I've seen. Not that I've seen. Nothing that I can. I might do a quick search while we're talking about it in case I've missed something, but
Yeah.
the only theme that they've been pushing is the corporations and the android aspect, and that there's obviously these new life forms. Nothing predator related at all that I can see.
So
But that'd be nice because I really love Predator more than Alien.
yeah,
Um,
and that's what I mean. So I'm just a little bit caught up with they released this Alien Earth, and coincidentally, I think a week or two after Alien Earth's episodes finish,
mm,
Badlands gets released, and they're making it really clear that yes, this is the same kind of world. This is the same kind of check this out. We can cross them over, no problems. But um, I forget what her name is. Elliot um, uh, Ellie Fanning, I think. She came out on stage and said, because this is the thing is with this whole thing on Disney Plus and everything, this is former Fox's Studios. Now they call it 20th Century Studios. What Disney bought, so all the IP, everything all came with that, and what came was Aliens and the Predator franchises as well. So they've got people working on this Predator Badlands who understand the law, and this Ellie Fanning was saying they're all well aware of how this should work and how it should function if there was to be potential crossovers and things that happen. So I was looking at the way that the trailer for Predator Badlands and stuff, I don't know if you've seen it, but they're showing different Weyland Yutani kind of gear and machines and logos and stuff. And I'm a little bit like, kind of, all right, is Alien Earth going to reference and basically lead into Predator Badlands? Because they're collecting these different alien species and stuff from around the universe. And this predator is on this planet and stuff where they're doing this collecting and stuff. Like, is this Predator Badlands going to be a little bit of a mini prequel or currently be running after this alien Earth where they do turn around and say, "Hey, let's go to that planet where we got these samples from and stuff." That's why I'm like a little bit like, huh. I wonder if they will whack that in there. If they will do a little bit of a reference, like we saw something cloaked out there. We couldn't tell what it was, or we saw this other species out there just wiping out these freaking other, you know, killer species and stuff, and we don't know what the hell it is, and we couldn't obtain like any of it. Like, but yeah, I'm just a
I,
little like I'm intrigued. Like,
sorry,
you're right, you're right.
no, I didn't want to cut you off. I was just going to say that you mentioned about the species and whatnot. There is, because I just looked it up, there's a very subtle reference, and I laughed as soon as I saw the word subtle. And I'm like, of course it's subtle, that I might not have noticed it.
Yeah,
One of the alien life forms is referenced in the Badlands trailer. So what's in Alien Earth Episode 3, one of the life forms, is in the trailer, which suggests that it's connected in some way,
yeah.
which is interesting. Sorry.
No, you're right, you're right. Because I'm a little bit more excited for this Badlands. Like,
Mm,
if they are going to do a good job trying to make sure like they don't just pay homage to the previous films and stuff, but just make something for the fans. Because hearing the
mm,
director, I think it was the director, it could have been wrong, like, and it might have been the writer. He turned around and said, "There's never been a Predator movie where the Predator wins,"
mm,
and he's like, "Go back and watch the every time the Predator loses, he dies." So he said, we wanted to make sure that we made that this film is that the Predator is our basic, avatar, our eyes in the film. Like, we're on that Predator's journey and stuff. So, and it's a fascinating kind of character and species and stuff. They're all about honor and stuff, because I don't know if you heard the story of how it all came to be. Like, Schwarzenegger was filming Predator, and halfway through filming, they opened up the crate for the actual costume and suit for the actual Predator, and they looked at it and went, "This is so gross. This is so sad to look at." Because originally it was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme in the suit, in the costume,
mm.
and the director got a hold of the studio and said, "You guys aren't seriously thinking about getting us to use this, with Arnold as the lead. Are you for real?" And the studio's like, "Whoa, wait, stop. All right, like, anyone got any ideas?" And Schwarzenegger said, "Look, I'm gearing up for Terminator 2 and stuff after this, but my buddy Stan Winston, I can give him a call if you like, and we can see if he wants to put something together for you guys." And they were like, "All right, great." Um, so he called up Stan Winston. Stan Winston was on a plane with at the airport with James Cameron. They had just finished filming Aliens, and freaking James Cameron's sitting next to him on the plane, and he's like, "What are you doing there?" And he's drawing. He's just like saying, "When I get back, I've just got to hit the ground running. I've got to go to the studio and get started working on this new alien costume for Arnold's new movie, Predator." And James Cameron's like, "Oh, all right, so you're going to meet up with Arnold and stuff." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And Stan Winston looked out the window, and there was a plane that was going to Japan and had a big picture of a dragon on the side of it. So he was drawing the Predator's face and stuff, and James Cameron went, "I've never seen anything with jowls before. I've never like seen any kind of species and stuff." And Stan Winston went, "Pff," started adding in jowls into it, the little freaking thingies on the
Mm.
Predator. Got it all together. Got it all looking really awesome, iconic as. I think it was Harry and the Hendersons, the guy who was acting as Bigfoot in the big costume. They got him, massive dude, taller than Schwarzenegger and stuff. Got him in the costume and stuff. Got him on set, and then like the rest was history. The way that he was trying to move and mimic and make a way that this is not how humans move. Like, you know, if it's a predator, he's got to be a warrior and stuff. He's got to be honorable and this and that and stuff. So that was really, really weird. Like, it's such a crazy relationship that so many of these different um, directors and writers and stuff had with Stan Winston. Like, he's the guy who designed the Predator, he designed the Terminator. He had, like, you know, all just with aliens and all this stuff. He, like, you know, Jurassic Park and all this, like, insane, like, costumes. And James Cameron, he talked about when I made the first Predator, he goes, when I was to meet with Stan Winston, I got told, now look, Stan has a very, very funny kind of sense of humor. So don't take it to heart or take it very seriously the way he interacts with you and stuff. And James Cameron was like, going, all right. So what? Will he do it or not? And they're like, oh, he wants to meet you. He wants to know what the hell is with this whole Terminator movie. Because this is back in the 80s and stuff. So first meets Stan Winston, and Stan Winston goes up to James Cameron. He's like, all right, what are you, why should I waste my time working on your small, independent, crappy movie? And freaking James Cameron takes a second and just goes, well, I was told that you're a whore and you just do it for the money. And freaking Stan Winston and him were like looking at each other for a few seconds, and then they just both burst into laughing. And Stan Winston, like, instantly then and there was like, yeah, I think I want to work with this guy. He actually he seems like a kind of dude that's fun to be on set with and stuff and to work with and you know. But yeah, the tragic story was like in the end, Sam Winston was dying of I forget, it was cancer or something. He only had like a couple of days left. James Cameron went to meet with him because he wanted to see him, and James was showing him Avatar. They'd been talking about it, and James was working on it for the last like 10 years, and said to Stan Winston, like, look, we've actually got video off, like, you know, the motion capture and stuff, because it was just before Avatar was supposed to be coming out, a year prior to it. And he said, Stan, like, we got it working. We actually got, like, the Na'vi working in living color and stuff live and on screen. And he was just saying, like, yeah, like, Stan was such a great character and stuff, great person. Like, you know, he is really the dude who gave birth to a lot of this amazing design and character creation stuff that we see in film now that's being like mimicked and stuff. So yeah, it's just the whole Aliens and Predator franchises. Well, the first two Alien movies and the first two Predator movies. The first one more than the second one, Predator. Like, those mean a lot to me because I can't remember how many times I've watched the second Aliens movie and the first Predator movie. I'm like, God,
It's so good.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're timeless. I was just like, man,
Hmm.
you could take that out of the 80s and put it into the 90s or the 2000s or, like, you know, yesterday. Like, yeah, so that's why I'm like, I'm very hesitant and reserved to want to dive into Alien Earth, because I'm like, are they going to undo a lot of the hard work those first two films made? Um, Alien versus Predator,
Mm.
that
I
kind
wouldn't say
of,
it's undoing anything, but that
yeah,
dystopian theme, it's different. So
yeah,
you'd have to go into it with a different outlook to be like, all right, this isn't the traditional, but it's not too different. It's just it's not the standard continuation.
yeah. But so I don't know how far into MCU you've gotten into and then just stopped, or if you've like, what was the last thing you saw from the MCU that you were like, oh yeah,
Um, oh, to be honest, I don't know. Honestly, can't remember.
yep.
What's the latest?
I can't like that's the thing. I'm lost now. I stopped watching a lot of the
Mm.
stuff that was just getting a little bit too DI heavy and too
Yeah,
yeah
I, if it's kiddie or wokey, I'm not watching it.
yeah
Like I started watching Superman and I stopped watching it. I'm like, this is lame.
yeah.
Like I just can't bring myself to do it other than to watch it so I can talk to you about it, which I have to do at some point, finish it.
Well,
But it's just like,
I
it's hard.
yeah. Put it this way, I don't know if you've seen Superman Returns with Brendan Routh.
I think I have. I
Yeah,
think I have.
it was from 2006. It was basically supposed to be a continuation of Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Mm.
Story wise, it was supposed to be a continuation, and by the end of it, he finds out that Lois had his son. Um, do you recall any of that?
Not really.
Um, yeah, I would have loved to have seen a sequel to that rather than seeing anything following up from this version of James Gunn's Superman. So yeah, I like. I'm not saying like, oh, you have to watch the new Superman, but I think when you do watch it, you'll be like, oh, this is why a lot of people are not really fond of this version of Superman that's yelling and kind of not emo, but just definitely out of character. Like you can see all the actors, everyone's all trying. They're trying to work with the dialogue that's not that good from James Gunn, but yeah, Superman Returns. Brendan Routh, he did a good job of sort of his Clark Kent and his Superman based off of Christopher Reeve's Clark Kent and Superman stuff. Um, yeah, it's leaked out now. It's come out after all these years what Bryan Singer was going to do with the sequel to Superman Returns, and it was going to be showing a quick flashback to Krypton exploding and Superman's little pod flying to Earth. But then you see on the other side of where the explosion is, another ship is leaving, and that was making reference to basically Brainiac. Hey, puppy, aren't you looking happy? Bit of an
Just
accident with
tired.
the table, I heard.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, she has been a bit of a nuisance at the minute,
Well, that's the
but
thing.
she's like clay.
Yeah, I, I, I just kind of like but she is a bit familiar now with her surroundings because she was just like kind of, oh, look at
Mm.
that. Let me grab that.
Mm. Oh, she's still doing it.
Yeah,
But we think she's toilet trained. She's hasn't had an accident in nearly 2 weeks in
yeah,
the house. She's going outside by herself. And the big challenge is from upstairs to downstairs in the morning.
yeah,
We're listening to her go down the stairs out the dog door. And I'm like, that's where we want to be.
yeah,
Because that's the biggest concern. Second to that is her being destructive.
yeah. Well, also too, I think yeah, that'll be really cool to know that a year from now, I think you'll be like kind of comfortable with, oh, she knows what's going to be a problem and what's going to be like, all right, let's just copy the other one because they seem to be in line and get the favored kind of, you know,
Yeah, they are.
yeah. But so I don't know if you've seen it's Avengers Endgame, um, where Iron Man Downey Jr.'s character Tony Stark sacrifices himself, does the snap, and takes out Thanos. my theory is that they're going to do an alternate version in a different timeline or whatever it is, where he does a snap but he survives, and he becomes basically an alternate version of um, Doctor Doom, Victor Von Doom, and stuff. So through the comics and stuff, it was always just based around like, okay, Doctor Doom is basically the Marvel version of Darth Vader. He's a burn victim. He has to have the suit to keep him cool and, like, from all his gruesome, like, medical burns and stuff. So there's so many different versions of him. The version I know from where he first started was he was trying to create a device to communicate with his mother who's died. Um, he screws it up. He doesn't rewire it properly. And Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four, this is when they're in college, says you've got that wired wrong. It's dangerous, dude. Don't do that and stuff. Ends up blowing up. He gets burnt and stuff. And Doom just like goes, well, this is Reed's fault. Like it turns into the like Doctor Doom versus the Fantastic Four and stuff, because Doom's got a thing for Susan Storm as well.
Hmm.
Everyone wants Susan Storm. She's the first lady of Marvel, pretty much. Like Namor wants to nail her. Freaking just everyone's like, she's the most beautiful freaking woman in the Marvel universe. So what I'm seeing here with this leaked image of Downey Jr.'s version of Doctor Doom, I think they are doing the alternate Iron Man kind of thing. Because when they announced that Downey Jr. was coming back to the MCU, he came out on stage and everyone's cheering and stuff, and he takes off the Doom mask and he holds it up and he goes, um, "New mask, same task." Freaking, pretty much Doctor Doom wants to save the world. They make reference of it in Avengers Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, where he says, I see the world encased in armor. Doctor Doom has Doombots. It would be basically an alternate version of the Ultron bots that get created and stuff.
Makes sense.
Um, yeah, just I don't know if they're gonna do the whole, when they had Ant Man in that suit and they were pushing time through him, so they had a baby in the suit and then they made him an older man in the suit and stuff. So we see at the end of Avengers Endgame where Steve Rogers is an old man now. He lived out his life. He went back in time and spent it with Peggy. I don't know if they're like, well, we'll de-age him by doing that way because they want to bring back Captain America, or if they're going to do the alternate version of Captain America where he's working for Hydra and make the evil
Hmm.
Captain America and stuff. So it's just a lot of these pieces are getting put together, but it's been such a in shambles, the MCU, the last freaking 5 6 years, I think now. Um, they brought in a lot of writers that were DEI hires, and they were all just very woke agenda driven. So they were greenlighting these projects that no one was asking for. Like no one was like sitting there saying, "I cannot wait for Agatha, Heart of Darkness or whatever." Just these
Oh, yeah.
A-list characters that no one cares. I was like saying to Roy Kitty Cat, can you believe we're getting an Agatha show before we get a Nova introduction? Like we're seeing this whole Miss Marvel show before we get a Beta Ray Bill showing up. Because the reference is Thor, he creates Stormbreaker. Um Thor meets, like, he sees a ship that's heading towards Asgard. He goes onto the ship and he's got Mjolnir, his hammer, and he's looking at all these different alien species in these pods. It's a whole race of aliens that are in these pods and stuff, and he's just like, what the hell? And out of nowhere, this cybernetic freaking alien creature comes out and starts fighting Thor, and Thor's just like, what the hell? And he's just like, get out of here, demon. And Thor throws his hammer at him, and Beta Ray Bill just catches it and throws it right back at him. And Thor's just like, what the hell? This guy's freaking, he's worthy. He just wielded my own freaking hammer at me. He can pick up Mjolnir. And Thor's just like in shocked, but like by this. And Beta Ray Bill like eventually he finds out like, oh, you're just trying to find your species a new home so you can live because your old home got destroyed. Um, I don't know if it was Surtur or whatever it was. Thor goes and sees Odin, his father, and they make Beta Ray Bill his own hammer, Stormbreaker, the hammer that Thor has in the MCU. And I said to Rogue Kitty Cat, I was like, there's got to be a scene where we get to see Beta Ray Bill, like Thor hands Stormbreaker to Beta Ray Bill and goes, that's yours now. You use that. And this has been going on since 2018 that Thor's had Stormbreaker. And there's only been like one small reference to Beta Ray Bill because there's a statue built in Thor Ragnarok where you see a ship flying towards the arena and you see all these different heads on these statues that have been built. And you see a quick shot of Beta Ray Bill. I'm like, oh my God, he's coming. He's going to be here any freaking year now. They're going to announce it. Beta Ray Bill movie or a freaking TV series. And we haven't got it. There's been no announcement, nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this...
Catered for an audience that, yeah, they shouldn't have catered for.
Yeah, I kind of was like, this is so stupid. Like, what?
Disappointing, though.
Yeah, they were planting these seeds and then they weren't fulfilling it because, hey, we had a big change up in the writers' room. It's a very, diverse crew of people now working on it. And I'm like, if it wasn't broken, why'd you try to fix it? Like, what the hell?
They didn't fix anything.
Yep.
They put a chick in it and they made it lame, Stan.
Yep. But so seeing this whole Doom thing now, where it's supposed to take place on Battleworld, so we've seen the big casting announcement and stuff where they've got all the people who are in Thunderbolts that came out this year. They said Fantastic Four are going to be in it. They said they've announced that the X-Men from the Fox universe, Ian McKellen, who played Magneto, and freaking James Masterson, who played Cyclops and all them, they're going to be in it. Deadpool's going to have his own X-Force team in there. That's going to have Wolverine, I think, Hugh Jackman. All of these teams are going to be on Battleworld facing off against each other, and I think it's what they're doing is they're going to have Doctor Doom, who's played by Downey Jr., William Dafoe as Green Goblin in there. They're going to bring back Josh Brolin as Thanos, a different version of Thanos, and Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse from the X-Men universe. And it's going to be that team of bad guys taking out all these good guy teams and stuff. I was like...
That'd be cool.
Well, I said, like, to Rogue Kitty Cat, where can they go now? Like, what can they do that we haven't seen already? We've seen characters meeting up with each other. We've seen characters interacting with each other and stuff. I said, I think the magic's gone now. It's something that I said way back in 2002 when I was watching Spider-Man, and they're like, got Jonah Jameson in the office saying, how can we go and get a photo of this guy? And you hear one of the other staff saying, Eddie's been on it for weeks. He can't seem to snap a photo of him. And I was like sitting there looking at my mate going, oh my God, they said Eddie Brock, Venom. It's a reference to Venom. This is going to be so cool. Like, but yeah, now it's sort of turned to this, what are they going to show us that we haven't seen before that's going to be like, man, this is so cool? Because I said to Rogue Kitty Cat, seeing Surtur swinging this giant sword destroying Asgard in Thor Ragnarok, I was like, I was shocked seeing that they were able to do a Thor movie and get it right, and do Asgard and get it right, and make Asgard look like a character as well. To see Surtur destroying it and stuff, I was like, I never thought I'd live to see this kind of happen. And then, like, they turn it around and flip it and make it into this stupid joke where it's like, oh, you know, Thor gives up and now he's fat. It's fat Thor now.
Yeah, I really got frustrated by that.
Yeah, because I said the no brainer thing when I was saying to Road Kitty Cat. You have Thor, he fails, so they go to see him in Avengers Endgame, and Asgard on Earth is a big fortress now, big wall around it, and the government's been bugging the Avengers for years, saying like, "Hey, you got to tell Thor he can't just take land." And for Thor to be like, "What? You're gonna stop me?" And he's kind of almost going halfway bad. Like the Avengers are trying to reason with him, whether it's Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, all of them. They're just like kind of Thor, like you, you've got governments of the world asking this guy's got like insane technology and stuff that could help us, and he's just like, nope, this stays with us. It stays with all the Asgardians. It's like, well, half your Asgardians have left, and he's like, yeah, well, all the ones that are in here have to be under my protection because I've failed them before and I don't want to fail them again. And, at the end of Endgame, instead of having Captain Marvel coming in there to destroy Thanos' ship, you could have had Thor return, like them asking him and saying, Thor, you going to come and help? And he's just like, no, no, not going to waste my time. And then, he comes in for the big save at the end. And then you make, instead of Thor Love and Thunder, you make the redemption story of Thor going back to being a good guy and stuff. But they went, nope,
You
choke
liked
you.
Love and Thunder, yeah?
Hey?
Did you like Love and Thunder?
Nah. I thought
Which was that the one with
Christian
the girl
Bale
in it?
and Natalie Portman's Lady Thor in that.
Yeah, no, I liked the one with Hulk on
Yeah, that's
Trashland.
Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
That one's
that
good.
was good.
Yeah.
I liked that. It was funny. It was relevant.
Yep.
Then yeah, Love and Thunder was just lame.
Yeah.
Put a chick in it, make it lame. God damn it, South Park every time.
Well, that's the thing. Like Road Kitty Cat said to me, Gore is freaking like a fascinating character because they sort of almost got it right at the start of the movie, but they still sort of screwed it up because yeah, Gore has got no nose, but they were like, we didn't want to cover
Hmm.
up Christian Bale's face and stuff, so we just painted him gray, and I'm like, that's a really stupid move. And he has a necro sword and stuff, but basically Gore gets venom powers. It's like sort of semi venom powers and stuff, and it's really it's a good comic. It's a fascinating read, but the way that they just shoehorned him in, it should have been Thor versus Gore. That's it. They didn't need to throw in Valkyrie and throw in
All the extras.
yeah, like freaking Taika Waititi's character. I forget what he's called. I don't know if it's called Meek or whatever. They didn't need to throw in Natalie Portman in there. They didn't need to throw in all these other unnecessary story arcs where you're just like, what the hell's like, what are we doing here? But yeah, it was just the Lady Thor, the Jane Thor story. Like that comic failed, and I was just like, kind of, all right, why is even going into that? Like, what the hell? Um, but yeah, it's just I just I said to Roki, I was just like, come on, like, this is just a waste and stuff. But like, sorry to ramble on. Was there anything else
No,
you
you're
need
not
to touch
rambling.
on, dude?
No, for fear of wanting to go to bed very shortly.
Sure.
I think we touched on Buffy, Alien,
We
a little bit
went through
about
everything. It was
wrestling.
just
And politics too at the beginning.
Yeah, but
Um,
I cannot be adamant enough about you. If you can give us a heads up on where you are, if you watch Angel and watch Buffy
yeah.
and stuff,
Well,
because
I'll um I'll download. Oh no, I shouldn't download. I should stream and support
you've got
the community.
Disney Plus.
Angel.
Yeah,
Yeah, is it on Disney Plus, Angel?
yeah. Buffy and
Because
Angel are
Stacey,
both
because
on Disney Plus.
okay, I'll definitely, 100% promise you, I'll start watching Angel
Yeah,
because I do like it. It is enjoyable.
yeah,
Like Stacey just wants to binge it, and
yeah,
I can't. I can't binge it. So it's either she wait for me, and it just doesn't work. So she's just moving ahead,
yeah.
and I'm coming back into it.
Because I'm
Mm.
really intrigued about getting your take on Angel. Because those
Mm.
first like 10 episodes of Angel, and then well, actually, that finale of the first season of Angel, I'd like to get your take on what you think, because it's an interesting thing to see how, a character in a show that disappears, but guess what, we get to add on to, not happily ever after, but you get to see what he's doing and
Mm.
how she's dealing with stuff, but also how he's dealing with stuff. It's really really cool. But I'll let you go. Um, yeah, I don't know if you're happy with another fortnight from now.
Yeah, well, let's make a plan. I'll back to back the Angel and Buffy crossover apps. Well, at least when it first starts with the phone call we talked about with the,
Yeah,
being silent
it's
on the other
it's
end. So at least we can actually have an active discussion about it.
yeah, because it's like the first episode of season 4, which I think you've already
Mm.
seen, of
Mm.
Buffy, and it's the first episode of Angel's series.
Yep.
But then it's got like, because I've got a list, it's online, it shows you which episode to watch in comparison, but the first
Yeah.
season is just like Buffy, then Angel, Buffy, then Angel, Buffy, then Angel, and then you'll see how it's all weaved together. Really, really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'll let you go. Thanks so much for sticking around for so long.
No,
Um,
no, that's all right.
but yeah, and plus two, I've got to
It's
fix
always a
myself another
pleasure.
drink as well.
Well,
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna have to dial back, I think, because yeah, being very close to midnight, I could decide if I stay up any longer, I think I'm going to be up for far too long.
yeah,
And I was working today and I shouldn't have been. Can't help myself.
yeah. Like yesterday, it was same with me. Like I went to bed pretty late last night because I was just excited because like, yes,
Mm.
Friday's here, and then this morning when I woke up, I was like, why did I stay up so freaking late? Like I can barely like
It's
drag
a
myself
double-edged
out of bed.
sword because sometimes like I find myself I've physically got to put myself to bed,
Yeah,
because it's borderline 1 a.m. and it's just like, oh, like I can keep going, but I can't be awake for 24 hours, but I'm either enjoying what I'm doing or I'm just not ready to just succumb to sleep, like because once you go to bed, the next day is here
yeah,
and it's just like, oh yeah, gone. So you
yeah,
sort of hold on to it for as long as you can, but
yeah.
anyway.
And that's the rule
Mm.
with me and Road Kitty Cat. It's just look,
Mm.
Sunday night's a school night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a school night. Friday night, we don't have to look at the clock. If we're
Mm.
watching something that we think's cool, if we want to play something that's cool, or we want to just sit here and just chat back and forth and not have to look at a time, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm all for yeah, definitely like jumping in. I just got an update from a certain Mrs. Mrs. Michael. I'm watching an episode where Angel visits Buffy at the uni, and Spike has a chip where he can't hurt people. That is badass.
Sounds like a good
She
episode.
is on fire, isn't she? I'm just
How am
like,
I supposed
damn,
to
she's
keep up
already
with
up to
that,
that.
Stan?
Like, you
How am I
weren't lying.
supposed
She
to keep
does
up with
binge
that?
it. Like, she's
Because
like,
I was painted out to be the person that didn't want to watch it. It's just like, no, no, I do. I can't do it that quickly.
yeah. But Rogue Kitty Cat's guilty of that. She even goes,
Mm.
so next episode, And I'm like, well, it's time for bed, isn't it? And she's like,
Mm.
oh, we can just get like, what's the next one? And then by the end of that, she's like, oh, we can't watch the next one, can we? We're gonna go to bed. I'm like, I know, we should have gone to bed an hour ago. Like, but yeah, it's something like that. But it's addictive, dude. You get so addicted to it. It's trust me, when you watch Angel, you know what I'm talking about. I'll let you go. But yeah, keep me posted on where you are as well. That'll be really cool.
No, absolutely.
That's sweet.
No, thanks for having me again.
No, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you. All right, catch you, brother.
All right,
All
ciao.
right, see ya.
Bye.
Hey, Bob. So, thanks everyone for stepping in. It was really cool seeing the chat actually going off and stuff. That was really cool. But yeah, that was tonight. Like a little bit of Buffy reference. We'll get some more in, and we're going to be raiding out to Rogue Kitty Cat. It kept saying only like one viewer, but everyone was all in the chat, and I'm like, what the hell? Why is it doing that?
Yeah. You had quite a few people in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Thanks, kitty. Hey, Emily's there.